I've been taking more walks than doing yoga right now, and the weather is still favorable, which is great in the DMV. I love that. I'm confused as to how it's like 70 something degrees, like high upper 70s, literally like a nice summer day during the first week of November. But if my memory serves me correctly, the first 2 weeks of November are notoriously warmer. So let's see if it actually lasts until Thanksgiving, and then we can really start talking about global warming. Wouldn't be a video without two things: the motherfucking Libra gang and this helicopter. That was military today. Fancy. I'm gonna start saying fancy because I was watching Lioness and they were attempting to pick a new lioness for the Lioness division, and when they went to go sit down, they were like, oh, they got mugs. Ooh, fancy. For their alphabet community. You know, I had a thought in the shower today, and I'd like to share it with you. I rose up around 2 o'clock because the time change is playing tricks on me again. And for the first time on Sunday, it said daylight savings time ends for the Eastern time zone, which is interesting because people thought it was last year, but in essence it was this year. And then it was like, all right, they have the LGBTQIA community, I believe that's the correct acronym, and then you got the other alphabet boys. And then I was like, nah, we already know who the original alphabet boys are. I don't need to say them. I was kind of referencing them today when I said, ooh, they got a mug. Fancy. So, is the queer community the other alphabet community now? And this is what got me to my thought, because I have a speaking engagement and allegedly in Atlanta, December 7th, with Professor Griff, Queen Goddess Hope, Shaka, Knowledge Born 7, a couple of other people, Mama Earth, more importantly, to, open up the ceremony and libations, but not to toot on nobody else's horn. Fact is that I've been thinking about what I want to speak about, and I haven't really concluded on much, but the thoughts, the shower meditation thoughts, these are all closely aligning to exactly what it is that we're feeling. And one thing that I'd have to admit is that when I started thinking about the 12 tribes of Israel, because right now, I had been reading the Psalms, and I had read the Proverbs, and we had read, Galatians, and then I always go to Revelation. And now, based upon a conversation that I had with somebody a couple days ago, I'm reading Romans. And I guess as a kid, you never really realized how present day this information inside of a book would generically be able to tie itself amongst multiple decades of time. And when you sit and really think about that and sit and really conclude that concept, you're like, is it really the Word of God? And then I started thinking about the Book of Eli. And if you've never seen the Book of Eli or The Matrix, please do yourself a favor and just, I hate to say you have to rent it now, but you know, they got Blockbuster on TV. Ain't that something? Just bring me the Blockbuster. I'd rather that right now, to be honest. And, we'll talk about that another time. No, I'm just gonna say it. This is all a social experiment. We went from, as the weather picks up, we went from concerts, crazy events, you know, thinking about the jazz renaissance and underground clubs and how were you able to dance and just hear music, you know, because music is an outlet. Music is a lifeline. Music is freedom. And thinking about all of these things, different periods of time where people have collectively come together, close-knit spaces, house parties, and not just the movie, like real house parties like the movie, you know, where there were people coming together. No one was thinking about what vaccinations you had or if you quarantined the entire time, or if you only did 3 days instead of 5 now, or, you know, they literally had us go on a Blockbuster video and they would only have like 50 VHS tapes of the new, let's call it Independence Day, because that movie was fire, and people would wait outside for that joint. People would be waiting inside of the store with windy lines. Like, I go to my brother's house right now, that nigga got Blockbuster video, bro. I love it. Like, it's funny because every time I see it, I bust out laughing. But it's so nostalgic, and it makes you appreciate our childhood growing up together, because that was a memory that we experienced. So it's a way of harnessing and loving on yourself and recognizing that this is a test. They literally had us crowded in Woodstocks and jazz clubs and close-knit spaces like Blockbuster Video, like marathons, like 10 Tones Down, like just so many multiple spaces where we were so close together. And now you can do everything from your freaking couch. Literally everything. Literally everything. You can work from home. They don't want you to leave the fucking house, bro. Have y'all not seen these movies and shows where people are living in pods? I just watched a movie recently where there was chemical warfare, and this mom was like, you either have to sit in this pod for X years until the air is clean enough for you to come out, or you die, because people are dying, and we know that this attack is coming. So this kid survived his entire days and nights. I forgot how many years. I want to say like 7 to 9 years inside of a pod, just waiting. And it wasn't until there was an electric strike, a lightning strike, poor weather, that crashed both. And I think it was a solar flare, to be honest. It caused a lightning strike and to kill all electricity. And the only thing that was still working was drone that was outside, and people would run from it. So, long story shorter, he saw things moving in the bushes, and I think he even saw a dog or something. And he realized that there was life outside of there. So he had no choice but to get out of his pod, because the generator couldn't sustain him past, I think, 48 hours, it sounded like, or something. So now he has to think about his mindset going into it. My mother put me in here. He was a kid. He was still in single digits. My mother put me in here in this incubator for 9 years. We could call it 9 months. And then it died, meaning the sac burst, the water broke, and now he had to go into this new world to breathe, to live, to sustain the physical mask that he had on, the pandemic mask that we was wearing, ended up helping him for like 10 minutes, not even. And then at some point, it's just a mindset thing, because you're not going to be able to breathe. So now he's able to start growing from a newborn into an adult. And this is literally how I'm watching the movie. Like, it's incredible. But thinking about that for a moment, imagine you being in a 20-foot container for 9 years with the same outfit, couldn't shower. Any of the food that they have for you was like fish sticks and let's just call them frozen meals. Child, those are MREs. Now, MREs are better than those frozen meals, child. I promise you that. And that's saying a lot, because MREs are not good. So, yeah. And just thinking about that, for a moment. And I think about these movies, the end of the world, these I Am Legend type of moments. It's telling you what the agenda is. Somehow, some way, they're going to kill one another, whether if it be through war, because technology is so vast now. Even with artificial intelligence, the weapons are going to be a little bit more crazier now. You really don't even really need physical soldiers. All you need is drones. Think about the amount of wars will be fought and how rapid people will lose their lives because of air attacks for invisible robots. Or there's bees all around me, right? Remember that Black Mirror episode with the bees? So it goes so deep. There's so many things, it's a frightening world to live in, and I think this is why I decided to go off of socials, because I needed to embrace the locality of being local. Some people always, want to clown you, be like, oh, you local. Or maybe that was just us in New York, like, you ain't really been nowhere. And now I've been to almost every Caribbean country and maybe 2 or 3 European countries, and people will still say that I'm local. Like, I've been as far as the UAE now, but before that, I would say it was France or Iceland. But just thinking about these things, people wouldn't say that you would be well traveled. And I think that being bit by the travel bug as a child was something that was great. I feel like it enhances you. And because I wasn't raised, to be local in my teenage years, I would say, when I was younger, of course, wherever your parents are. My parents was in the boroughs. Growing up in New York City, we was really in the little boroughs. At least I was. And as far as I can remember, so Red Lobster, if you know, there was only one Red Lobster for a certain half of the boroughs. I think there was one in Brooklyn or Queens, far deep, Long Island, City Island type of vibe. And then there was Woodbridge, New Jersey. And I remember when people got promotions at work, graduations, big team, you'd go to Red Lobster. That wasn't oh, let's go to Red Lobster for Thursday night. We need to figure out something right now. It wasn't that. And then I recognized that there was really a large portion of America, aka white people, who was like, oh, we need dinner tonight, let's go to Red Lobster. And it would be like Wednesday. And I only knew that because I was at that point in life where I started doing that, but at like Outbacks and, you know, Chili's and different places that would be a treat for me as a child was now like my normal locale if I wanted to go to lunch. Or, you know, you can openly recognize a class difference once you start going outside of your territory, especially in New York City. Because in New York, there is no free space. Every free space is crowded by a bodega or some type of apartment building. That's it. If it ain't making money, somebody live there. You know, those two sides of the coins. But to think about the, you know, beginning point of my conversation today, I feel like their thought of, you know, whipping us with the Christian Bible, it kind of forces you to want to have that, I was going to say white powdery concept of who you should be in God's eyes. And in their eyes, if it ain't white, it ain't right. So naturally, by them conquering and destroying and then brainwashing and giving people these prestigious institutions that forces the world to feel like they need to join in on that. People have student visas in America to go to these prestigious universities and haven't been accepted to Seton Hall and meeting female AGs and, you know, getting accepted again to Rutgers, North, and Brunswick. Just being able to win a basketball from Grant Hill, you know, with the UCLA colors. Just thinking about all of these things, or maybe was it Duke? I just feel like it was the powder baby blue with the white. I had won it during the pandemic, and I remember sending it to my dad's house because I knew that he liked the blue and the white from Jordan days, college days. I don't even know what he did with it. You know, I could only hope and pray that he actually blew it up because it was autographed. Because if he don't want it, I could definitely have that, my guy. Thinking about the separation, thinking about what if God said all of the 12 tribes of Israel separate. Think about you in an arena, right? Instead of you picking your seats are chosen for you based upon your tribe. But instead, everybody wants to be the other alphabet boy. What is the importance of being labeled when you were chosen? What is the importance of being labeled if you were chosen? And this is why I strive so hard to be free as fuck. And this is why I say free as fuck. Sure, I can say it as a noun most times, but free as fuck is a mindset. I choose to be free off of the labels, off of what anybody's perception or interpretation of me is supposed to be like. I just don't want to be like anybody. I just really want to be as myself. So thinking about the tribes and thinking about where you would stand. What if he said, all the government, politicians, employees stand in the middle. All the queer community members stand on the left. Everybody else stand on the right. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to raise their hand and say, but what if I belong in the middle in the queer community? I'm looking at the timer too, because child, who knows how much space I got on this phone. Y'all be knowing that shit. But that's really what's going to happen. That's going to be the first fucking question. It's not going to be an innate thought. It's not going to be like an innate decision. And my point to swing this all back to the light and dark army, which side do you choose? You gotta pick a side, man, eh? It ain't three. It ain't three. So do you want to serve the light army, or do you want to serve the dark army? Because a lot of people chose their side long time ago. Long time. My stalker, my neighbor on the left of me, he thought I was probably coming out here to do some yoga, and he came right and sat on the porch, child. And this is why I'm like, we gotta definitely, level up so we can get up out of here. The neighbors can't be watching me doing yoga, child. They getting excited, they getting closer. And I'm trying to, get a little bit more further away. But the point is this. I talk about the light and the dark army because we are at a time in history for the first time where black men actually vote. Their vote will matter more this time than any other time in history. And that's basically what happened 100 years ago. And even thinking about the origins of eugenics and how this whole thing started, the women's suffrage movement, and it became. Now, as far as I'm concerned, eugenics is a failed movement for some. Whatever their original agenda was, they could not kill us all. Regardless of what they tried to do to sterilize us, they could not get rid of us all. And the ones that they did get rid of, may their souls torment those who snatched their very lives away off this planet Earth, torment them forever in their sleep. Until they sleep indefinitely. So harsh to say, Nadia. That's what the ancestors do. That's what they do best. The wind agrees. When you can transmute energy, no one can stop you from doing anything. Only you can truly become the best you and become what I call free as fuck.